Hello, 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 everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder of Pat Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. How is everyone doing? Good afternoon, Davey. Good evening, Anissa. A lot of chop, and I'm not a chef. Enjoyed the Futures Ed podcast. Well, thank you very much. Hey, George. No economic number, no earnings, no Fed speak. This is what we get. We're rolling over for sure. Don't agree yet. Hasn't triggered a signal yet to the short. Their liquidity is absolutely horrible. And if you look at this, it was a pretty mixed day. It's just the futures were absolute. The liquidity was terrible, but it was a pretty mixed day. I actually don't think, unless we break down, there we have not triggered the signal yet. So it's don't have a trade yet for a longer term. I mean, there were 15-minute trades and everything intraday. There were some good back and forth trades, but this still is caught in a horizontal channel. So we got to go with that. Got to go with the price action. If it breaks down, then it breaks down. We shall see. Good evening, AP's Worlds. Well, thank you for joining us from the UK. Getting more and more people from Europe and the UK, and I really appreciate everyone turning in. I quit roller coaster long ago, and if you don't have a trade, you sit on your hands because we could see some roller coaster still price action until Friday. Happy Monday, Connor. Again, thank you very much. Hey, Dan Jet. uh what's a happy Monday without the little hand? So we got two versions. Again, if as Josh said, if you did not tune into the Futures Edge podcast, I was on it. It was posted this morning. You might want to check it out. It's always helpful to learn how I look at things. Jim Ariel asked some good questions. Bob Iacchino was on it. I thought it was well done, but you can give me some more feedback if you'd like to see something change in the future. Not that I'm just a guest, so it's not that I have a lot to say, but I would pass it along if you thought it could be improved. Again, I will be on pretty much once a month for the time being at the beginning of every month. First, I think it's the first Friday of every month to do some overall technical analysis, help people learn how to do this more, give some longer term outlooks. Uh, no positions, but checking a read on Bill Gates, 1 billion short on Tesla. He's supposedly short on Tesla, so that's fine with him. I don't disagree with that bet for a long term bet. He can withstand a lot of back and forth in the long term. By the way, let's get just the cleaning out of the way. If you're new here and you like what we do, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer term subscribers, please come back, leave some comments after the live stream is over. So just leave them so it gets wider distribution, and like or dislike the videos. All right, now that's out, and I'm aware that parts of my body have disappeared because I'm wearing a tie-dye with green on it in front of a green screen. But half my tie-dyes have green on it, so I don't know what to do. I'm not going to change my green to a blue screen or another screen just because I'm wearing a different colored tie-dye on any given day. So you get to put up with my disappearing shoulders. Tomorrow morning, minor stuff, balance of trades, exports and imports, very minor. Consumer credit change, slightly more important, but not much. And that's out tomorrow afternoon. So again, not much market moving, and we don't have the Fed speak again because it's the quiet period before the rate decision, which is pretty much baked in for next week. Again, mixed markets. Amazon up after the split a lot because Google's coming up with their split, a lot of front running in there, but everything else sort of mixed. Slight little pullback in some of the oil related stuff with that pullback with crude. Other than that, very mixed. You wouldn't know if you just looked at this. You wouldn't know, you wouldn't give you the real picture with the futures. By the way, that 50 basis point rate hike still baked in and still in negative gamma. After the close today, there wasn't much going on. And before the open, I mean, unless you're into boondocking, Cracker Barrel is before the open. And if you like to play the games, Dave and Buster's, but nothing really that's going to be market moving right there. This is what I'm talking about. If you just looked at this bar, it'd be like, whoa, what happened? It was all the way up and dropping back down. But again, see, it's still in a sideways consolidation. and nothing's really changed. It didn't invalidate the double. So for the double bottom, it didn't change anything with the double top. So it was really just uh, wish wash of a day with some pretty decent volatility thrown in because we technically have an inside bar from Friday, higher low, lower high, which is another sign of a consolidation bar. And really, we haven't gone very far. Yeah, we've had a slight pullback, but this is so far a horizontal correction, not a pullback correction, a horizontal correction. Could it turn into a pullback correction? Yes, it still could. The double is still in play. Hello, hello, wavy. Sleepy day. Sleepy day with a lot of back and forth. Boring day. They tried to pump the market overnight hard, so sadly there's no buyers. There's just very little liquidity in the futures. It's just very sad right now. The liquidity, the algos have dried up a lot. You know, they'll just jump on these short term moves, which in negative gamma even amplifies it more. Hey, Mike, and the PTP team, Path Trading Partners, not the Plunge Protection team. That would be the PPT team. We are the Path Trading Partners team. One thing I noticed today, price is able to fall a lot quicker compared to up moves. There was some decent selling in the futures quickly, and bonds. I mean, this sold off. That's in reference to Tesla's short. Billy has a 500 million short. Well, depending on where you put it on, it might even be a bigger short now because of Tesla's overall price drop for the last little bit. But once we saw that, again, there were pretty bad auction results from the 3 and 6 months, and then we just got the notes, the 10-year notes. I'll jump back to stocks in a bit, but they got hammered this morning. This is when the auctions were going on, and they got hammered. I'm going to start with the notes, really, because now this is dropped into potential. I'm going to stress potential, double bottom territory, nowhere near triggering, but it has pulled back again. Do I expect a slightly bigger pullback? Yes, because back on the first, we closed below the 62.5% harmonic, which then favors a return to at least 117.23 and a half. But this does because a lot of stuff still showing that we could be getting in for a longer term bottom, but there's no guarantee unless this pattern would trigger. So just wanted to start there. That's a lot of what triggered this morning's sell-off with the horrible 3 and 6 month auction results, and the Fed was actually in there pretty heavily. So back to the S&P. What are we watching for? What are we watching for? Well, with overnight price, by the way, the first little hit bit here, keeping it with I had the aggressive targets on here, stalling at the first, but if you happen to use the conservative targets, pretty much coming up, but then it rolled over. So first and second targets hit. Those are the ones I had up here this morning. And then you had this momentum bars with the auctions and then trying to bottom out here. So is this a double bottom? No, it's not reversing enough of a move. We are just continuing in consolidation. So really key for me overnight is let me grab a line here. If we start breaking below about 4,097, so 4,097 to 4,100, then I'm going to watch for the retest, and the double still is in play. To the upside, key resistance 41.52. Do we have any other really short-term patterns? Not real. I mean, we could map this out on the 15-minute basis, but and it does work. So, I mean, if you're trading the futures when they reopened, well, they're not technically closed yet, but after the closing period, if you're trading them, we still do have a potential very short-term trigger above 41.40 in the S&P, but it could be invalidated on a triple bottom. So I'm just pointing that out for people who are active. Let's see. GTLB ripping. Let's see. Where do we sit? NAS head and shoulders on the 30-minute. We can take a look. Let's just jump to the NASDAQ right now. Again, pretty much the same bar as the S&P. I mean, Nasdaq off third, or Nasdaq still up from Friday's close, 37 basis points, and the S&P still up 33 basis points. The Dow was at the weakest, only up 9. The Nasdaq completed its double pattern. See straight here, did not get the 1 hour close above that 62.5. You see, pretty much closed right at it, and then rolled over. Is this a double? No, it's not, because it's not reversing a big enough move. You got asked on a 30-minute, which I don't trade the 30-minute because I use 3 to 4 degrees of separation, but I will look at it. Is this a head and shoulder? And no. Why? Because it's not. This would be a head and shoulder topping pattern, and it's not reversing any kind of move. Remember, it's a reversal pattern. Now, if it was an inverse head and shoulders, which this is not, it could be reversing this, but that is not. Okay. So when I jump to, I'll show you on natural gas, and why reason I'll jump to that is because of it. We had a potential head and shoulders that's now invalid, so I can show you what that will look like. Other than that, overnight, the key area I'm keying off of is right around 12,531. We break below that, I will watch for a retest of these lower areas. If you were to do your little reverse harmonics off of this move, you see here how it reinforces these lower areas. So we don't need to really focus on that. To the upside, nothing really doing until we get above 12,778. Dow, again, here are some great, I just have these little trades up here from earlier today. So little double top right here on the Dow. You see this little 5-minute double top, which was valid. First and second targets within the move that created it. And then the third targets is okay to go through the wicks. So that was a little target, and then it just kept going. Then you did have this little double bottom. I wanted to leave this on here for a reason, because this doesn't matter the time frame. This is just a little teaching moment. So we had that double bottom coming up to the first and second targets. By the way, I'm using the conservative targets because it was against the move that started it. You know, this against this pretty strong down day. But you move up your stop here, first profit target here, but it created another double. You see this? So you can easily then again move your stop right below this and lock something in, or once it just trades through that, I'm out. That's why, because when you see another double against a double, especially at the second target, use the stop, especially even make it more aggressive below that little, what would trigger that second double for getting out of the pattern. Other than that, not much going on. If we break down, really, this is very, very sloppy. But if we break down about below 32,821, I will watch for a retest. First area is about 32,700, and then below that, 32,600, roughly. To the upside, not really interested in the bullish case until above 33,206. Appreciate the analysis as always, Mike. Best analysis I found on YouTube by a long shot. Well, thank you very much, Joseph, and thank you for being here. Oh, you are very welcome. I'm glad so many people are starting to tune in. I'm just trying to give another perspective on technical analysis. It's not the traditional just run of the mill stuff. A lot of stuff I've developed over what 30 years being in this business. So, by the way, the double is still valid on the Dow. Double, and I'm talking the double tops. Double top, this didn't invalidate it even with that up move, so double top still valid on the NASDAQ. So remember, watch for June 2nd lows. I really need if I get momentum bars below that, then I'll do it. But other than that, I need a close. You could hedge it maybe with a 4-hour close. I'll be watching for a daily close, especially to target all the pullback levels. Let me jump over to natural gas real quick. Not from a, I know a lot of people don't trade it, but you had the shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. This invalidated it. But you see this shoulder, head, shoulder, ignore this bar because this invalidated it, and it was reversing this move. Okay? That's why I'm showing that's a proper head and shoulders. Now, why is this invalidated? Because it went up above this shoulder and within striking distance of the head. So could this have turned into a potential double? Well, we have to reassess with the right now the conservative targets. And yes, it still does work. So sometimes you can have these moves turn into something else. Does that mean it has to stop going up? No. This was a very bullish bar uh, with daily cycles turning up. So the only thing that really starts invalidating this is if we start trading below today's low, then we get the gap fill. But then the only really thing that gives any bearish take is a close below 811.9. Other than that, I'm watching for another push higher to about 963 to 970, and then we'll reassess. Now this bigger double, this one, and I'm showing you this is now turned into a triple. And why do we note that? Because that one's off the table, and a triple slightly favors a continuation move. So that's just, I know there's not a lot of natural gas traders here, at least who tune in live, but what's this? You should still pay attention to stuff, and you see how it's caught rotation zone, rotation zone, rotation zone, still pushing up. So what would be the early warning sign besides the gap fill? You get a daily close below the rotation zone can give you a little hint that, all right, we might be putting in at least a consolidation high. Back to the Russell now. Russell, double top. Russell held up quite well today. Still double top in play, stalling out just in front of here. Not an inside bar to Friday, but pretty much a consolidation move right near these highs, which technically is pretty bullish. What would shift it again if we sold off and got a daily close below this first separation of the rotation zone? Then I'd really start focusing on that potential double. This is no longer in the DAX, no longer a potential double top. It traded up a little too high, so I'm still watching. Just missing. Remember, statistically, was supposed to hit this 14,730 or 735 area, so still focused on that, but nothing really changes unless we get a close below 14,230 area. Crude. Little, again, coming back to kiss the channels goodbye. Still have the potential double top. This does not change anything, but if we start breaking above this 121 level, going to be really focused on 125.77. Even though we are overbought with cycles on the top, weeklies are starting to roll over. That's why I'm a little edgy, but I got to go with the statistics. And even if we pull back down to the rotation zone again, it does not invalidate go testing this 126. We really need to break this channel going lower and get a close below the 62.5. Where else do we sit? We already looked at notes. Dollar index, nothing much new. Double still in play. So close above 102.75. Then we start targeting the upwards price action. I did not have the retracement harmonics on here anymore. But let's get those back on because the first target's right in that rollover zone. So if you're playing this from the bullish side, do not ignore that first target. VIX also is still, this was not a terribly bearish VIX bar. So that's why, again, the liquidity, but there wasn't fear. Even with the rejection of this morning's price action and that sell-off, there was not any rush into the VIX at all. And inside bar to Fridays. Let's take a look at Tesla. Again, Tesla, just another inside bar. So right here, you know, you had the gap fill coming down to fill the gap. If you want to look at that shorter term. You know, even with this move, let me just show you, even with this move here, That's the close to today's high. The moment you get the close below the 62.5, statistically it favors the gap fill. These moves don't invalidate it. And it finally came down and filled the whole gap. So that play was off the table with that. And now it's just a breakout or breakdown play. Breakdown play really at this point is below Friday's lows to target the 62.5, which is about 687. The breakout play, initial above today's high, will target Friday's highs, and then the next target is 753 higher. VIX was moving up with the spiders. What does that mean? They should be moving opposite. VIX moving up is fear coming in, and the spiders were, I mean, we had the retracing move, so that was completely in line. But you can still get a bullish bar with VIX coming up. You can still get a bearish bar with VIX coming down. It is possible. It does happen, especially in lower liquidity environments. We're watching from the car. Will be very careful, Lauren, with driving. Mike, do you watch for a specific number of momentum bars prior to entry, or are you looking at the magnitude of the bars? Generally, the magnitude of the bars. And if you're trading the futures, and you can look at how quickly either the bids or the offers are getting hit or taken out, that gives you a clear sign. Okay, when you just see I look for the range and then how much it's retracing even intra-bar. So that is one of the key things. That is one of the very key things. If you, it's sort of hard to show on a chart, but you see here when it's breaking down, you see there's very little back and forth initially. You see this, and you see here. Let me show you here. See here on your 1 minute. Then the reason I'm flipping to this is because I can generally see it in price action. But you see here, there's very little overlap. Okay? It's just getting hit, hit, hit. You get the little pause. And these little pausing, by the way, if you don't get in here, you get the little pause action, and then you start the continuation. The second continuation move is the easy trade, by the way. So when you see momentum bars, if you're not in it right away, okay, the second little pause, and you can see it, I can't really show you here you got the bigger pause here, which was a flag pattern. But that other one, you got that little 1 minute pause. Then the second trade is the easier one for a short-term trade. And then even with this, if you're trading off the 5 minute, you see very little overlap. Here was that little pause in the 1 minute. You can roughly see it on the 5 minute. Then the second trade on this one was you got the flag pattern, which I should draw a little steeper like that. Again, you're not trying to make it completely properly drawn. You're trying to get a best fit flag. And when it starts breaking down from that with momentum, that's the easy trade off the 5 minute. Because you generally don't have momentum that just reverses up unless it's like a Fed thing or there was a false announcement or something's getting corrected really quick. You generally get a couple pushes. So if you didn't get on the first one, watch for that little corrective pattern, and then you can take the second one. And those are short-term trades. You don't want to turn them into long-term trades. Just like this little off the bottom, it's a minor momentum, little pullback, second one. So that's a little discussion there on that. What else do we have? Let's just peek in at Twitter with all this back and forth with Elon. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, it's going to get very interesting. This is just going to be very interesting. Twitter trying to fill the full gap, but not yet there. Nice little rally back. I was reading a lot of stuff today. Don't know how he's specifically going to wiggle out of this one, but it is Elon. Whales bought a lot of spider puts today. Well, there you go. Do you use the footprint? What do you mean by footprint? I do it in the dome. I have a dome that I watch. So that's what I watch. Just the depth of market. I watch the depth of market in the dome and how fast things turn over and what how fast things are absorbed or not absorbed, and whether orders keep coming in at the same levels. If things get absorbed and keep coming in at the same levels and it can't really break, that's a telltale sign. But if it just breaks quickly and then you sort of go into those vacuums on the domes until there's the next little pause area, and then that's getting absorbed really readily without a lot of new orders stepping in, that's a good sign too. Hey, hey, Waka Waka. We wouldn't call it a disgusting yo-yo day. You get the back and forth days, but it really didn't go anywhere. News on Tesla split on the 10th? Who knows? Yeah, volume was super low. It was very low liquidity. It was very low liquidity. That's why I take this with a grain of salt. If you look at the volume, even in this consolidation, the first two bars were somewhat decent with the selling volume. But again, remember, volume follows the overall market direction. So your rallies are still on lower volume. Generally, your sell-offs are on higher volume. So that's why longer term, I still am bearish. It's still holding this. But this was a lower day, and it couldn't even break down. It couldn't break and trigger that double, even with this volume. Remember that for the overall volume studies, volume follows the dominant price direction. Not every day, but when you see like higher volume on sell-off moves, just reiterates the overall longer-term bear case. I bought Tesla today expecting a pickup on split just like Amazon and Google. Well, we'll see. In Amazon, you had the split, and look at I had to redraw, after the split because the lines were higher, but here you go. Straight up to that. So the double play is over fully in Amazon. Coming up here, 50-day exponential with the target. And I said that was the target area. That's done. Your play is done. Does that mean it can't go higher? Well, I wouldn't be touching this until it got above this high of back on the 29th, 130.76, because then you do have another potential gap play. And that, let me mark this off on the daily. That's the only remaining bull thing really on Amazon. Let's see, then you're targeting the full gap fill. And the full gap fill, I'm going to mark off two levels here to the open, which technically isn't the gap fill, and then you go to the 62.5. And you see that's even on the other side. So the probabilities, and it's even below this breakdown zone right here, which is roughly with the weekly. So it would take, so I wouldn't even be counting on the full gap fill. So this gets very interesting. You get weekly cycles getting to the top, but not yet rolling over. Daily cycles starting to. So we might see a little backfill now that the split's out of the way. That doubles off, and my support level is 118.60 on there. What's the news on the SPY that reverses the downside? The 3 and 6 months bill auction was really bad, and then you got the notes just selling off hard. And again, with low liquidity, it didn't take much, but for a little pressure. Yeah, the Tesla split, it is. That's why I'm not talking about it. It's all pure speculation put out by some of the same old people. If Elon keeps talking too much, they will kill him. You are welcome, Anissa. Thank you again for being here. Not retail buying Amazon this morning because it's 20 times cheaper. There's so many traders who don't know what they're doing, have started in the last 2 years. It's absolutely hysterical when you see some of the stuff. They're oh, it's just I'm not even gonna comment. Uh, so let's just check on the couple other stuff. So Microsoft, little pullback today, but the double's still in play. Uh, little outside bar, but still inside bar from the 2nd of June. So not much, nothing's invalidated there. Nvidia, just showing a couple key doubles. Pretty much an inside bar to Friday, and just another consolidation. So not much new there. Nothing that's invalidated there either. All right. Mike, when most of these new guys get wiped out, we will know we're closer to a longer term bottom. I agree. There is, and there is a lot of fear missing out and chasing still. Yeah, there definitely is. Once we stop seeing inflows into ARC too, constant inflows into ARC, then we'll be closer to a bottom. Yes, it does look like a middle finger right there. It's giving you but is it giving the bulls the finger or the bears the finger? That's what I want to know. However, track lots of option flow and call volume is very low ever since the last Fed meeting. Technically, for options, borrowing those 100 shares is cheaper. You are welcome for the analysis. I'm going to wrap it up. Again, we got sun finally came out after rain all day, and then we're supposed to get more storms in a couple hours. So I'm going to go outside and walk the dogs. Green bar, Bears getting the finger. Well, thank you for thank you for that. And thank you for everybody who joined in today. I thank you. And we're seeing so many new names. Again, if you guys, the longer term subscribers, when you see new people, thank them. If you would, just thank them in the chat for being here. I'd really appreciate it. Again, yeah, and after comments go, if you have not listened to Future Ed Podcast, even if you're not trading futures, you might want to tune in because I think you'll get some tips on technical analysis. All right? So tune in anyways because I go through things and I explain it, especially to Jim, because he's only been exposed to my stuff for a short time. So you'll probably learn something that you can apply to stocks, to FX, to cryptos, whatever. All right? All right, Waka Waka. It's been hard rain, so I hope the rain clears up soon in the UK. I mean, we're getting so many people. Waka Waka's been here forever, but we're getting so many more people from UK and Europe, and I really appreciate you tuning in. AP's World, thank you so much for being here. Anissa, again, she's coming back for all these live streams. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love all the new folks here. And again, if you want some more stuff to be around, a lot of these people who have longer term, it's only $10 US to join the Discord, one-time fee. So consider joining that. There's good stuff posted in there. Well, thank you, AP's World. Thank you. With that, I'm going to wrap it up for now. Everybody have a pleasant night. Back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. if you key off everything, 9 a.m. Eastern. Before the markets, we'll take a look at that overnight price action, prep ourselves for when the late European morning or afternoon session, and then going into the morning session with the U.S. So, again, appreciate everyone being here. I'll have something other than a tie-dye on tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye for now.